More than half of Americans are struggling financially, and it's actually absolutely crazy. So I'm back in the US, finally got the real news again, where you can actually watch it. In Europe, I only got the censored stuff. And I've noticed you guys have been commenting on my video. Oh, when I was in Switzerland, I posted, 3 comments. This is my 3rd time commenting. I know that was not me, because I cannot delete comments that fast. And I would not, just because you have a different opinion than me, I would not delete your comments. And unless it's like a harmful thing, then YouTube does it itself. But I've gotten so many comments and actually emails that saying, you deleted my comment, you deleted my comment. I says, I did not. I apologize. I did not delete anything. That was YouTube in Europe. So I'm back now, so it should be better. And I do apologize for that. I don't know what happened. Maybe I need to upload them via VPN. I have no idea what I have to do to not delete you guys' comments that YouTube does. So let's get into the video. So I'm seeing, while I was here in the airport, so I flew back yesterday, and I was at the airport, and I was going to the Wall Street Journal, and there's more and more articles saying that, using your retirement account as an emergency ATM just got easier. And I feel like that is the perfect indicator of a shitty economy, where you can use your, your 401k, your retirement account, to kind of bridge the gap from when you got terminated to your next position. And it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because it's just really, really sad when you got to cash out on your 401k, because that money's going to be missing for a normal worker if you're relying on a 9-to-5, right? So more Americans are yanking money from their 401k plans to pay their bills. And I've seen TikTok videos of people saying, oh my gosh, I have $5,000 in my 401k and I have no more money. I'm not qualifying for unemployment. So what I'm doing now is I'm selling my 401k to pay some of my bills. And I'm just like, holy smokes. Why? How is that not a huge uprising, and people are starting to, go crazy about it and starting to, say, hey, we need to change something. So let's look at some numbers. 46% of Americans, according to a poll in June of 2024, 46% of Americans say that they're struggling to maintain their financial situation. Yes, this is higher than 20 to 29% who felt this way in the polls in 2017 to 2021. Yeah, I think nobody besides super wealthy people are better off now than they were in 2021. I think unless you work for NVIDIA, where you get NVIDIA stock, you are not better off. So, and now this is mind-boggling, this next point right here. So 65% of middle class of Americans, a poll by the National True Cost of Living in June of 2024 found that 65% of Americans who are more than 200% of the federal poverty level are struggling financially. This includes people with high school diplomas and graduate degrees, white and blue collar jobs, and from both rural and urban areas. Okay, let's look at the next point. Then we talk about it. Credit card debt. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the shares of American experiencing financial stress due to credit card debt has increased the same level as during the Great Recession from 2008-2009. However, the current share of consumer in credit cards distress is still small, at less than 4%. So, yeah, it is. I think it's absolutely crazy when I see these articles and they're talking about how Americans are cashing out on 401ks and credit card spikes. And I feel like now people have like these little side gigs that they're doing, they're doing DoorDash, they're doing Uber Eats, they're doing all these side gig works. And that kind of keeps them afloat, but it's not a proven thing where you can just keep on doing that to get by. So what do I mean by that? Is when you are struggling, and let's say you have a $5,000 a month, like lifestyle balance, like those are your fixed bills, right? You have house, you have a car payment, you have insurance, and you got to put some food on the table.
Normally it's 6 or 7, but you cut it down. You're not traveling. You're not spending unnecessary items. You're not buying unnecessary items. And I did a poll on that, and I'll check out that poll right here. And people said, "Oh, I cut all that out." So now you're like, "Hey, how do I stay afloat?" Well, you just make the minimum payment, the minimum balance payment, so you don't go into deferment, right? So when you're not going into deferment, they're saying, "Hey, this is great, right? Because you don't have to declare anything. They're not going to say, "Oh, you're in default." You're just paying your minimum balance. So what is also crazy is that this phantom debt that they're having now is also on the rise. So this is this A firm and all these other ones that says, "Hey, paying four or five paying these 4 or 5 payments and 0 interest, and you paid over 4 or 5 months." I think even Amazon has that now, that you can do that. So, and that isn't even recorded, right? So you can kind of stay afloat like that, but you got to get another 9 to 5 job to get that income back up, so you can then keep your lifestyle up, because you can't do that forever, to work 3-4 jobs and 6 side gigs to try to stay afloat, and it's a struggle. And this is my prediction: all these people that are doing this are going to have a huge cost coming to them with taxes. Because if you are an independent contractor and you do all these, you do these side gigs, you got to pay taxes on it. So you need to budget a certain amount of money away for taxes, because they haven't taken your taxes out. And so if you've been a 9 to 5 employee your whole life, then you've never ever had to have that problem of actually putting away money for taxes, because it always has been going on. So you've always had the stuff already taken out. So now you gotta actually do it. So you gotta set it aside. And now I'm wondering, and I'm gonna ask you guys, if you're struggling and you have $500, $1,000 coming, are you putting away 100 or 50 into a savings account for your taxes, or are you spending it all and you're going to deal with the consequences later? I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because I would probably spend it. I would not save it. I just probably wouldn't do it, because it's just, get rid of the short-term pain and then deal with the consequences later if you get another job, right? So here we go. There's another poll. 65% of Americans whose incomes are 200% above the national poverty line, which is about $62,300 for a family of 4, often consider middle class, say they're struggling financially. Yeah, it has gone to a point where everything is so bloody expensive. The US has been mind-boggling expensive. And when you see all these migrants come in, they do not know what's going to hit them. They're like, "Hey, we're going to, this cost of living is not sustainable for anybody." And, when I see these people walk across the border, I don't need through America and not just the stuff that they portray in Europe and in the world. So if you just look at what Europe, the European value of what they see of America, they think we have the greatest economy ever. They think that before that, they didn't even know that Joe Biden had, wasn't cognitively there 100%, that he was like a lead of Hedis, right? So now they're saying, like in Switzerland, they're saying, "Oh, U.S. economy is doing fantastic, right? House prices up, stock market's going great, and you guys are killing it over there." And I said, "Yeah." And I just laughed and said, "Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. If you owned stocks, real estate, and you owned a big company, you were doing fantastic. But if you weren't owning any of these things, you were doing horrible. And you're doing way worse than you were before." And it is not cool that, it's like marketing, right? And the US is a marketing genius, right? It's like, "Oh, you can better your life, and you can do whatever you want in the United States, and you can become a millionaire." Yeah, you can also fall deeper than in any European country with homelessness that you can ever do, in the US than you could in a European country, right? Let's face it. Because in Switzerland, you can get a 9 to 5 job, work for 5 weeks, no work for a year, get 5 weeks paid vacation or 4, and you don't have to worry about when you come back that somebody else is sitting on your desk or your badge's not going to work. And yeah, pros and cons, right? But nevertheless, here we are, and people are struggling. So what do? Well, you got to get these resumes out. And I'm feeling like not enough people are talking about this, that so many job listings are fake. And how are you going to go through these resumes and figure out, like, what do you send, like, where do you send so it's not a scam listing? Because there's so many scams out there now where they say, hey, come on, apply here, do this, and then it just goes into this black hole, and you don't even know where your resume is, who the hiring manager is, and whatnot. And I've been getting so many messages from you guys that say, no, I interviewed twice at this company, and then or 5 rounds of interviews from somebody, and then they decided on the 6th round, after they did a project and all that we're going to go with a former employee. I was like, didn't you know that after like the 2nd round of interviews that you're going to go with somebody else? Why did I have to interview so many rounds? I just don't get it. And now we are where so many people are struggling and putting everything on credit cards, and the cost of living is so expensive that you gotta do a full-time job and do a side gig on the side to just stay afloat. And the kicker is that if you're gonna get a job now, you're in credit card debt and you have bills that probably are past due or that you put on credit cards. So it's gonna take you a few months, even if you get this job today, to catch up. So if you're gonna get a job today that's gonna pay you what you were making, like $80,000, $60,000, or $80,000, but you were unemployed for 6-7 months, as a lot of you guys were, there's an effect to it where you gotta think like, hey, I gotta live like I did on rice and beans for another 3 months just to catch up on my bills and pay down my credit cards. And then I gotta replenish my 401k, and I gotta replenish the savings account that I burned through. So the next 6 months isn't gonna be, if you get a job now, the next 6 months is just to catch up for the other 6 months that you spent money that you didn't have or put on credit cards just to stay afloat. And this is a cycle that is very, very dangerous, because when you have 6-7 months worth of living expense that you need to work for now to pay it back later, it's just, oh my goodness. And when you're in a situation like that, you gotta, I feel you, but you gotta be aware of what you're gonna, like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, what's the strategy? And sending out resumes, networking, and yeah, and sending out applications, like 300 a week to stay afloat. But then people say, oh, the mental health thing, is also weighing a toll on you. And I 100% agree that the mental health thing is gonna be hard. It's gonna be, yeah, because when you are getting rejected, that does something to you. And when you send out all these applications into who knows where, right, into this black hole, the mental health is starting to mess with you because you're not getting responses. And then what might happen is that what I've seen people is they've sent this week a resume, next week a resume, and then the following week a resume, and they all in between a few hours sent the rejection letter. So then you're like, how did they all coordinate when to send a rejection letter, right? So how is that, like, how did they coordinate? Because I sent that, throughout 3 weeks, I've sent 3 different resumes, or how many there were, and they've all sent me a rejection letter in the same day, in the same few hours. So I don't know how that happened. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not, but just interesting. An interesting fact, right? So let me know what you guys are doing if you're still job searching, and what are you, and what's your vaccine for all these unemployments, for all these for all these unemployment rates, for all these fake job listings. What are you doing? And how are you holding up? Do you have support network? Let me know in the comments, because I'm curiously interested to see how you guys are dealing with this and seeing what you guys are up to, because for all these people that are struggling so much, it's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, so this was it for this video. I am back in Las Vegas, so I'm gonna have a little bit more organized videos, because it is actually really hard to do videos when you're not walking straight. You're trying to look on your phone, people yelling at you, no filming. It's like, oh my gosh, why would you? You're not even the subject of the video, but people are yelling and screaming and saying, you're not allowed to film here in the woods. Then go jog somewhere else. Go buy a treadmill and walk it home. So I really appreciate you guys. Like and follow. If you watch for so long, go follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to start posting there some good content also. And I'm also on Spotify. So if you want to watch this video in the car and don't want to do that, I'm also on Spotify. So you can just listen to me on the road. And yeah, it's the exact same video on Spotify as it is on YouTube. You just can't. I uploaded the video so you can see the video. I don't recommend watching the video and driving, but you could just listen to me on Spotify. So I appreciate it. I'm back. Got a lot of stuff to catch up on. I got some great videos coming on, and I love you guys. Please like and subscribe, considering it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.